Sabres taking on the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Chance to get back to level, back to 500. 7:30 p.m. is the puck drop, which means 6:30 p.m. pregame here on WGR Sports Radio 550. Going to get with Paul Hamilton in a minute. Let me reset the show for you here today. Sal Capaccio with you on a Buffalo Football Monday with a little bit of hockey detour because we have no Bills game from yesterday to talk about, but a Sabres game tonight in Montreal. And, of course, our Buffalo Football Monday is presented by Catholic Health, the right way to care, and brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com, and by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. So got a lot to get to, including our injury report, our extra point from the sidelines. My sideline's a little different for you this week. Got something to share for you there. It wasn't a Bills game, obviously. And then, of course, a little bit about more of a jump around the league, sit up, stand down, and hey, buddy, all coming your way in a little while. Paul Hamilton joining me now on the West Her Hotline. Of course, Paul's appearance brought to you by Equitable Advisors. Planning for your future is about more than just money. Let Equitable be your guide. And by Relax Honda. Relax, we got this. Well, Paul, I'm going to relax because I survived again in your loser pool. I mean, we're just chugging along here. Although I will say, picking the Raiders was kind of a win-win, right? Because if the Raiders had beaten the Chiefs, I would not be unhappy, even though I'd be out of your loser pool.
Most folks actually did take Las Vegas that are left. I had three entries, and I was stupid enough to take the same team to lose in two of the three entries, which was New England against the Bills. So I knocked out two then. Then the next week, I would make this pick again. I took the Giants to lose on Thursday Night Football, and they won against the Eagles. And I would make that pick again. I wasn't sorry. So that eliminated me. I'm totally out.
How about the Giants yesterday blowing that lead? They were up 3 scores in the fourth quarter, 33 points in the fourth quarter by the Denver Broncos. Pretty crazy right there for them to come back.
I've never seen a quarterback like Nick's. I mean, and I see it more because I've had him on my fantasy team for 2 years. In the first half, he looks like he couldn't start for a college team. He is awful, almost weekly. You're sitting there at halftime going, oh, good, I have 2 points from Knicks. And then the next thing you know, he gets 35 points in the second half. He, for whatever reason, it takes him a half to warm up almost on a weekly basis. And certainly that happened against the Giants yesterday.
Sabres, Canadiens tonight. What's happening behind you, Paul? Are the Sabres skating?
It's just the end of the Montreal Canadiens morning skate. The Sabres will be on the ice in a little bit over 20 minutes. And I don't think it'll be an optional as most of them been this year because they did not practice yesterday. So I think we'll probably see a full skate from the Sabres at 11:30.
By the way, I don't know why I assumed that you wouldn't be watching the skate. I said behind you, but it's probably in front of you. You're watching it while you're talking to me. All right, so that being said, all right, let's start with that. Who do we expect on the ice for the skate? Let's do a little injury update here because the Sabres need to start getting healthy. They have started to see some guys return a little bit, but still some other guys are a little ways away. What do we know about some of the injured players? Who's in, who's out right now?
Yeah, you mentioned an injury report, so we won't just do a Bills injury report. We'll do a Sabres one, too.
Love it.
And it was getting better. They were able to get a Samuelson back and get some guys back. Greenway is right around the corner. Kesselring is back on the ice. Luukkonen is practicing and probably will wind up in Rochester on a rehab. So everything looked like it was going in the right direction. Well, then Danforth is now out for over a month. Norris, of course, is out for over a couple of months. Bryson is in concussion protocol. So Noah Ostlund, the former number 1 pick, is up and will probably be in the lineup to take Danforth's place. And then Metza was already here, so it would be between Zach Jones, who they signed from the New York Rangers and did pretty well in his 4 games in Rochester at 4 assists, or Zach Metza. One of the two of them will wind up in the lineup for Bryson. So injuries were getting better, but now they're starting to acquire more injuries and having to bring up more guys from Rochester.
UPL and Jordan Greenway and Michael Kesselring. What about those 3 specifically? What are we looking at?
Well, Kesselring got on the ice Friday for the first time by himself, in a rehab skate, and that's when Lindy Ruff had anticipated he would be on. So he hasn't joined the club yet. Greenway has been practicing with the team. You got to remember, Greenway hasn't played since March and has had 2 surgeries. So this is kind of like his training camp. So, yeah, he's feels better and doesn't have pain, but they can't just throw him in because they got to get him some practice time. So that's really what they're doing right now. It wouldn't shock me if maybe you see Greenway by the weekend, if everything goes well and there are no relapses or whatever. As far as Luukkonen goes, he's fine. He says he doesn't feel the pain and is going well, but again, he has had one period of play since last April and hardly had a training camp. So, and Lindy Ruff did not say this wouldn't happen. It would probably be a good idea to get him down to Rochester on a rehab assignment and get him a couple of starts before you activate him into the NHL.
Paul Hamilton on the West Her Hotline coming at you today. I am. He's in Montreal. Sabres are there tonight, 7:30 p.m. is where the puck drops. He's in Montreal. I'm down in Olean at St. Bonaventure University today, Paul. WSBU, the radio studios here. Nice campus, obviously. I'm talking to some students today. You ever been down here this way to go to a game or visit the campus?
Yeah, I was down there for a game. I was down there when they had that scandal and they had some press conferences. So, yeah, I have been down there, not much, but a little bit. I just was thinking back when you said the college station, my old college station back in Ames, Iowa, which since I was there for a bit of a fifth year, I spent a lot of time there once I couldn't play hockey anymore, and there and the AM station in Ames, Iowa.
Just give a little shout out to the sports management program in the School of Business and students from Sports Media. I'll be hooking up and talking with them a little bit later. In the meantime, talking with Paul Hamilton here ahead of Sabres Canadiens tonight. All right, they lose 3, they win 2. Is there a big picture what's been different that we can talk about here, or is it just the little things that go your way sometimes that don't go your way other times?
Well, what's been different is Zach Benson and Josh Doan. I mean, that's what they were missing, especially what Zach Benson brings to the table. It's not an accident. They both have 5 points in their last 2 games with the way they play. They're tied for the team lead in scoring, and Benson's only played 2 games. But it's contagious. When you see Zach Benson doing it, you say to yourself, maybe I should be doing that too. And then you see the Kulik, Thompson, and Benson line all at the net, and you see everybody at the net. Florida is one of the most physical teams you are going to play, whether they're injured or not. You are in for a battle. I think the Sabres out-physicaled them in that game. I have never seen Mattias Samuelsson play that physical in a game as he did in that game against Florida. He was knocking people down on the penalty kill. He was one of his best games I have seen him play, but there was physicality to his game, and that's what Lindy Ruff has been on him about since he's become the coach, is use your size to your advantage. We're not talking about fighting or anything like that, but use your size to your advantage, to lean on people, to take them out of the play, to make open ice hits and that type of thing. And I thought Samuelsson did a good job when Dahlin viciously cross-checked Marchand in the back. Marchand lost his mind and jumped him, and the whole Sabre team was there. Thompson immediately got there, and they were all there for their captain, which we couldn't have said last year before the incident where Thompson got hurt. So, I really think the Sabres were the more physical team and initiated more physicality in that game, and you saw them around the net. You saw them winning battles. You saw them using their speed to get to the battles. Just the things that were missing in the first 3 games.
The other thing that is different, Paul, special teams. Holy cow. I mean, we were talking about the Sabres, 0 for their first 11 to start the season. I'm looking now, they're 5 of 18, and they're like literally near the top of the league suddenly in power play percentage. In fact, let me get you a number. There's number 6 overall, 27.78. They're 5 for 18. That means for 5 of their last 7, actually. Yeah. But it hasn't ebbed with the penalty kill. They're number 1 in the NHL, killing off penalties, 23 power plays against, only 1 power play goal against. So that's obviously been a big difference.
Yeah, they went 7 for 7 on the penalty kill against Florida. And let me tell you something. If they keep taking 7, giving the other team 7 power plays a game, they're not going to get away with it, no matter how good their penalty kill is. That was very good. They got away with it. That's the only thing that I would say they still have to get out of their game, is taking the stupid penalties. They take some dumb ones still, and they're still doing it. Benson, right at 9 seconds into the game, sticks his leg out for a tripping penalty at center ice. No, you don't need to do that. They killed it, and that was fine. But the power play, you're right, 5 of their last 7. Interestingly enough, they've got those 5 goals. And if you look at who scored the goals, nobody named Tuck, Thompson, or Dahlin scored. It was 2 by Quinn, or 2 by Zucker, rather, and 2 by Doan and 1 by Quinn. Those are your 5 power play goals. Now, who would have guessed that Thompson, Dahlin, and Tuck wouldn't be involved? They got some assists, but they didn't get any goals on those power play goals.
Yeah, facing a Montreal team tonight. It's about middle of the pack, and both special teams areas. We'll see if the Sabres can continue on in their special teams play. Really nice turnaround here. Again, you go from 0 for 11 to 6th in the league over a 2-game period. It also shows that it has been just a very small sample size. Okay, small sample size of Josh Doan, but man, oh man, for all the things that people say about Kevin Adams and the build of this roster, I'll say if he found this player in that trade for J.J. Peterka to continue the way he's playing long-term, short-term, and long-term in Buffalo, and the addition of Kesselring, who looks like he should be a pretty good defenseman, boy, that could turn out to be a really nice trade. This kid has looked really nice in Buffalo Sabres blue and gold.
Well, the trade was off until Doan was part of it, and Kevin Adams was very clear about that, and that was both Kevin Adams told us that, and the Utah general manager told us that originally, no, they weren't going to make the deal if Doan was in it, and Adams said, then there's no deal. Call me if you change your mind. And then they decided, this is the Utah GM, he said to himself, look at, we want Peterka. He's a really good player. We want him. We will put Doan into the trade, and then the trade was made. And when he came, I told you guys, he's going to be in the middle of everything, and he certainly has been in the middle of everything, and has an upside. Who knows what that upside is, and we still don't. We saw for 5 games what the upside, or 2 games what the upside is, but we do know he's a guy that has scored in the American Hockey League almost 30 goals in less than 70 games, and is a guy who's got a great shot, and now has 5 points so far to start off the season with the Buffalo Sabres, all in his last 2 games. So he's a player. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of number 91 jerseys around the arena before too long. He's going to be a player that the fans of Buffalo are going to like.
Yeah, he's playing really well so far to start his Sabres career. All right, so they have Montreal tonight. Then they're back home for a couple more. We talked about the front-loaded home schedule to start the year. It's the Red Wings. It's the Maple Leafs. These are key Atlantic Division matchups. And then at Toronto, it's a back-to-back. When do we see Alex Lyon not in goal? Is that tonight? Is that later in the week? When does that happen?
Lindy Ruff wouldn't commit to it because I happened to ask him before the Florida game, and he says that's all we're thinking about now. He didn't say no. He just said we'll think about that after the Florida game. This would be the game I would put him in, even though Alex Lyon is coming off a shutout, only because then you could put Lyon in on Wednesday, you could put him in on Friday. I don't really have a problem with letting Ellis play the second game of the back-to-back if it's not his first NHL game. I would rather he play his first NHL game against Montreal, even though it's in a cathedral here in the Bell Center. But I would rather it be here and get it out of the way. And it's about time. I mean, they have to monitor Lyon, too. When does fatigue set in? And that's something, the goaltending coach and the strength and conditioning coach will sit with Lindy Ruff, and they'll talk to Alex Lyon, too. But, Alex Lyon's not going to turn down a start. He's a gamer. So it's going to fatigue eventually. So to me, tonight makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense with the team, especially with Lyon coming off a shutout.
Paul, big picture, do the Sabres have a goaltending controversy, if you will, when UPL is back?
No. It's Lyon's job until further notice, in my mind.
It's Lyon's job. Okay. Well, I mean, it had been UPL's job, and Alex Lyon showed up at the last minute. So you're saying it's Lyon's job. The old saying is you don't lose your job because of injury, but you're saying you lose your job because of injury.
It wasn't Luukkonen's job at the end of last year when Lindy Ruff, for the last month and a half of the season, decided I'm going to do whatever it takes to win hockey games, and whoever gives us the best chance to win hockey games. I think Luukkonen played 2 games. And it was every night. It was James Reimer, the 37-year-old, who wasn't going to be part of the Sabres' plans. But when Lindy Ruff decided we need to put guys in who are going to help us win hockey games, it was not Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So I think you're right. I think going into camp, they had him penciled in as the starter to see what happened in the off season, where he made improvements and those types of things. But I always said this is Alex Lyon's opportunity. He's never had an opportunity like this in the NHL at age 32. So this is his opportunity to make it so that the coaching staff cannot take him out of the net. And so far, in 5 games, he has done just that.
Paul Hamilton on the Western Hotline. Little thought on Montreal here, Paul. Looks like they're building it and maybe got it to a spot where they feel really good. Cole Caulfield had a great overtime goal the other night. I'm sure you saw that. I think it was against Nashville. But looks like a team that is on the up and come here.
Yeah, they've played 6 games, and it's not surprising at all that Cole Caulfield and their captain Nick Suzuki are their leading scorers with 8 points. So, that wouldn't shock anybody. Sam Montembeault, who really played very well for them last year, and one of the reasons they went up the standings, has not had, and I don't think he's going to play tonight. He's 2-2, but his save percentage is only .857 and a 3.26. So I don't think the Sabres are going to see him. Look, I believe he was out there taking shots late when I started with you. So he just hasn't been so far in 4 games, the goaltender. But yeah, the Canadiens are 4-2. They're off to a pretty good start. They lost their first game, and then have gone on a pretty good run since then. So they went on a 4-game winning streak and then lost another one. So it's a hockey club that they know how to play. They don't have a lot of superstars on their team. Laine didn't play the last game due to injury, but he doesn't have a goal yet in 5 games. He's hot and cold. Basically a power play specialist, I think, is how you would look at him. And they also got a key injury, too. Goalie is not going to play. Goalie got hurt, and his first game out was the last game, and they're not going to have him for a while on defense either.
All right, Paul. Well, have a nice time today in Montreal and covering the game tonight. We'll be following along at PHAM1717, of course, WGR550.com. Thanks a lot, brother.
Okay, take care.